Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to today's session on Personal Branding 101. My name is Hiba Abbasi, and on behalf of the University of Manchester, I would like to welcome you all and thank you for taking the time to join the session today. I'll just wait a few minutes just to allow more people to join the session. But meanwhile, I'd like to see some faces. Thank you, Mark, for turning the camera on. It's good to see you. So, hello, everyone. Before we start the session, I'd like you all to take a look at this slide and these individuals and brands and let me know what do they have in common. Just take a moment to go through the slide and the brands, and then in a while, feel free to unmute yourself to tell me what do these people have in common.
Excellence.
Thank you, Marie. Yes, that's one of the things that they have in common.
They all have a very strong brand. They're well recognized. They're pretty much household names globally. That's what they have in common.
That's absolutely right, Mark. Thank you for sharing that. So let's see if more people would like to add in some comments. Well, as we said, as Mark said, and as Maria said, all these people and brands, they are strong brands. These individuals and brands have established themselves as experts in their fields. So if we take a look at Richard Branson, who doesn't know Richard Branson? So Richard Branson is one of the very famous entrepreneurs, inventors, investors. He is the founder of Virgin Group, which has 400 companies, and his personal brand is 100 times stronger than the Virgin Group one. He has 80 million followers on LinkedIn. Oprah Winfrey, similarly, is a reality TV hostess. She's a media powerhouse. She's a philanthropist, and her personal brand is also about excellence. She's real, she's authentic, and she appeals to people. Similarly, Steve Jobs, who doesn't know Steve Jobs? He's very successful. He's a pioneer in the microcomputer revolution in the 70s and 80s, and he's the founder of Apple. Nike, what comes to mind when you see the brand Nike? Anyone? Maria's laughing. What do you think, Maria, when you see Nike? Yes?
Exercise.
Exercise, health, fitness, people exercising, maybe people running. We associate it. It has a strong message. The message is about exercise, it's about health, it's about fitness. So these people have created strong brands, and not only the people, but also these brands, the Nike brand, the Apple brand, and they're recognizable. So if we want to go to some definitions, let's start with what is a brand. So a brand is a collection of perceptions in the mind of the consumer. And brands are really born out of experience and reflection and reputation. So if we want to look at this definition, personal branding is the practice of people marketing themselves and their careers as brands. Personal branding is essentially the ongoing process of establishing a prescribed image or an impression in the minds of others about an individual, a group, or an organization. And I like to think about it as the perception we create in the eyes of others. And if you really want to think about personal brand, it's those first impressions that we make. It's the way we talk, it's the way we walk, it's the way we present ourselves, it's the way we network with people. It's everything that involves interactions with individuals, with corporates, with the entire world. It's how you convey yourself and your message. And I like some of these definitions. We are the CEOs of our own companies. So it's me Inc. And you have to think of yourself as a company. You have to think of yourself as your own brand. How do you want others to see you? You have to be the head marketeer for the brand called you. And I particularly like what Jeff Bezos says about personal branding. It's what people say about you when you are not in the room. So it's your reputation. It's how you are perceived by others. Let's take a listen at this video.
Hiba, it's muted. We cannot hear it.
I'm sorry about that. So according to Dory Clark, who's a marketing strategist and author of Reinventing You and Stand Out, she's worked with a number of top Fortune 500 companies on branding. Companies brand themselves to create an image, a recognizable spark that encourages, their target customers to connect with them, to remember them, and to do business with them. And we as individuals, we have to do the same thing. We create a personal image or a brand for the same reason. We want people to think about us, to remember us whenever we want to do business with them. If you're looking for a job or if you want to do business with someone. So I want to ask the question. So do you think that personal branding is for everyone? Let's see some answers. You can type it in the chat box. Do you think it's for everyone? See some chats. Okay. So just to answer the question, personal branding is for everyone. But today I'm going to talk about it from a professional point of view. So no matter what you are, if you are a job seeker, if you're an entrepreneur, and if you are a leader. So let's start with the first category, which is if you are a job seeker. So if you are a job seeker, you have to really think about your personal brand because you want to appeal for your employers or for your hires. So first of all, let's see what's common in all these three. Let me see some answers. Do you know what's common between all three? Okay, you can unmute yourself and speak if you don't want to type.
So all of them are trying to promote would try to promote themselves.
Yes, so all of them, they want to be known for something. They want to be recognized as experts in their industry. Now, what differentiates them, or what's different really, is the audience that they're marketing themselves to. So for the job seekers, again, it's their employers. It's to add value to the companies that they want to work for. For entrepreneurs, it is the marketplace and the potential customers and clients that you want to do business with. And if you're a leader, it's within your organization, within your peers, and within the entire industry. So think about which one of these are you. Personal branding is for everyone. So no matter which category you fall into, you have a personal brand, and you should start to think about how you want to develop it, how you want to improve it. So when thinking about personal branding, there are elements. And as I said, personal branding, it's about the way you walk, the way you talk, the way you dress. It's about your image, how you present yourself. We have interactions every single day, and how people view you and perceive you is really very important. The way you communicate with people, your body language. If you're sitting with someone in a meeting and you're not making eye contact, that's part of your personal brand. If you're in a networking event and you're constantly not concentrating on the people that you're engaging with, trying to find other customers or people that you want to target, it's part of your personal brand. It's your communication skills, how you write that email, how you respond to your peers if within the organization, or how you deal with your customers, and how you deploy to future employers. It's your communication skills. It's your credibility. If you say that you're going to do something, do you do it on time and like you wish to do it? It's also your social media presence. So think about everything that you post. Think about all the platforms that you are part of. How do you present yourself? How are you portraying that message? And how are people really viewing you? Do they really see you as an expert in the industry that you want to be an expert in? So these are a few things that you want to start to think about. Think about the impact that you are having, and what do you want people to think about you when you network with them, when you sell with them, if you're doing the MBA, the groups that you are working with, if at work, these people that you're working with, if you're looking for a business or a job, how do you want people to see you? So no matter what the standout factor, this becomes really part of your personal brand. So personal branding is making those first intellectual, visual, and emotional connection or impression in the eyes of people. And the first impressions that you create, it becomes part of your personal brand. And it's really what sets you apart and what differentiates you from the rest of the group. Now, the serious part. So how do you define your personal brand? And when defining your personal brand, I like to think about 3 steps. The first step is defining your aspirations. The next one is determining your value proposition. And the third one is communicating your brand. So let's start with the first one, step 1, which is defining your aspirations. So when you want to define your aspirations, think about what is your goal, what is your purpose? And in any of those categories that we've spoken about, whether you're a job seeker, whether you're an entrepreneur, or any of these, think about what is my goal, what do I want to be known for? Personal branding is about being really intentional about where you want to go. And for this, I like one of the quotes by Seneca. He says, to the person who does not know where he wants to go, there is no favorable wind. So you have to be intentional about your personal brand. It doesn't come to you as a coincidence. You have to really think hard about what you want to be an expert in and what you want to be known for. And one of the things that you really want to think about, and I like this timeline exercise, which is really used from the NLP model, the neuro-linguistic programming model, is think about what do you want to be known for in 5 years? If, let's say, you're invited to a dinner party and the hostess is introducing you, how would you like to be introduced? What would it What would be the standout factor that you want the hostess to mention about you? What do you want to be known for? So think about these things along these lines. It would help you, to clarify your purpose and your goal. Second is determining your unique value proposition. And this is one of the very, very important steps when you want to define your personal brand. When working with a lot of people, I sit with them and I say, what are some of your strengths? What is your unique value proposition? And most of the people, they don't understand that. They think that unique value proposition is only for a brand, while in fact, we all should identify our unique value proposition. And I like to think about it in a way which is combining our natural talents, our skills, and our passions. So let's begin with natural talents. Natural talents, yes, sorry. So how do you determine these? So I want you to think about what comes really naturally to you. What is it that you do that you don't really have to put much effort into it? So is it public speaking? Is it networking? Is it, I don't know, writing? Or is it getting to the root of the problem? Let's say you work in an organization and whenever you're presented with a problem, you can come up with the answer really quickly. So think about, what do I really have that it comes naturally to me, that I don't really have to put much effort into it? So also you can think about, what came to me naturally as a child? What did I like to do? Were you always trying to solve problems? Were you always trying to use your hands or motor skills? Were you always a public speaker? Were you always a good communicator? So think about these and think about, how would your friends, the close friends, describe you, and list them down. And once you do that, you move to your skills. Skills is everything that you have learned along the way. So think about that, what you want to write in your resume. So if you're going to find a job, what are these skills that are going to help you find a job? Whether it's your MBA, whether it's your coding skills, whether it's managing people, whether it's project management, finance, etc. So look at everything that you have learned, and these would be your skills. And then finally, look at your passions. What excites you? Think about, when you enter into a bookstore, where do you find yourself gravitating towards? Which section? Where do you find your time, if you have spare time, where do you find yourself reading more about? What are some of the topics that you can talk about endlessly? Because when you're finding, you're building your personal brand and identifying your unique value proposition, you ideally want to create that set of unique value proposition which represents you. You don't want to follow somebody else's passions, or you don't want to pick up someone else's natural talents or skills. Sit with yourself and identify, what excites me? What am I really passionate about? This should be part of your unique value proposition. And here you can come to the point where you can create your own value proposition, which should be part of your anything. It should be part of your LinkedIn profile. It should be part of your CV. Now, I'm going to give you an example of a unique value proposition statement. And I'm going to use myself here to set an example. So I will say, I use my natural talents of connecting with people and coaching skills to have an impact in the professional development industry. So I want you to take a moment here to think about your unique value proposition statement, and if you can share some of these statements in the chat box. Who has a clear value proposition statement? It's ready and you use it. It's part of your elevator pitch. Can someone share the value proposition statement? Just think about your natural talents, think about your skills, and think about, where do you want to make an impact, in which industry? You can unmute yourself and just, you know, say your statement. Anyone?
Hi, Hiba.
Hi.
Hi, this is Helen. Hi. I would like to say, if I can, from what I would believe, I would use my value proposition statement. I would say for myself personally, I use my natural talents of listening and understanding skills to have an impact in the education industry.
That's great. Thank you so much for sharing, Helen. Thank you so much. I see also someone else shared, I use my natural talents of mentoring and coaching to have an impact in the industry of renewables. That's great. So I think that you all get what we're talking about. So next we move on to creating a personal statement. And really the personal statement should combine your vision and should combine your unique value proposition, your work experience, and your desired opportunities. So think about your vision is, where do you want to be in 10 years and where do you see yourself? Think about your unique value proposition is what we really identified now. What makes you unique and how do you stand out? What is the blend, that special blend of you? And then think about your work experience. And here, when talking about work experience, I want you to craft your story to tell employers who are looking for a breadth and a breadth of experience. Tell them your story, craft your story. You should be able to communicate that story in a way which would identify your unique value proposition. And quite often, what we see is that people, first of all, they don't know how to craft their story. They don't develop a narrative about who they are. And like Dodie Clark said, you have to create your own narrative. You have to craft your own story. You know your experiences and nobody knows you as much as you know yourself. So you should be able to craft that story when talking about your work experience. Because even if you're telling your story to an employer, employers, they don't want only to see the skills. They want the whole part of you, not only the resume. They want to make sure that your vision and your unique value proposition and your desired opportunities, they're all aligned with the job, with the employer. And when moving on to desired opportunities, think about the opportunities that would be great for you. So think alongside, you know, your vision, which is wide, but within that vision and along that way, what should you do? We shouldn't focus on vision only, but also on experiences, like I said, unique value proposition, skills and everything. That should be a wholesome or a holistic picture that you want to present when you're creating a personal statement. And I'll give you an example of a personal statement. So this one says, through my natural enthusiasm and empathy for others, I inspire research and development professionals to develop innovative products in the biotechnology. So this is a biotech manager writing about herself. So she said, I use my natural enthusiasm. So she's talking about her enthusiasm and empathy for others. These are her natural skills to do what? To inspire research and development professionals. So what she does is that she inspires them to develop innovative products. While she's not developing the products herself, but what she does is that she inspires these research and development professionals in doing certain things. So, and she mentions that the industry where she is creating an impact, which is the biotechnology. So when you're creating your personal brand statement, think alongside this message. Of course, each and every one of us has his own unique statement. So it should be along these lines. They're not similar, but each and every one of us should develop his own. Now, step 3 is communicating your personal brand. And this is now the time to think about yourself as a product which is ready to be launched in the market. Let's say that the market is the job market. So once you have really identified your unique value proposition, what you've done is that you've raised your self-awareness. So now you're more aware of your talents, of your skills, of your goals, the purpose, your mission, your vision, and your desired opportunities. And the better you know yourself, the higher the self-awareness, the better you are able to position it in the market. So how do we communicate it? I think about it in two ways. The first way is in person, and the second way is online. Let me see if there are any questions so far. Do we have any questions before I talk about communicating your brand? If you have any questions so far, please type it in the chat box so I can check it. Okay, I think it's really clear now. Right. So I take it that there are no questions so far, so I'll just carry on. So ways to communicate your brand. When you want to communicate your brand in person, you think about networking, and networking is really the best way, the most effective way for you to build your brand. And, you know, networking, it's a highly delicate skill, and not everyone has the skill of networking, but it's something that can be developed and improved, just like any other skill. So when you're thinking about communicating your brand in networking, through networking in person, you have to think about your real purpose. Is the real purpose of networking, which is bringing something to the group that is helpful to them, and making sure that you're not asking for something in return. When you're networking in person, make sure to be yourself, to be authentic, to be genuine. Don't try to portray or project an image or someone who's not you, because eventually, you know, people will know and they will not connect with you. So what you really want to do is to be yourself, to understand your value, to understand your unique value proposition. And whenever you're in a setting of networking, just try to reflect and show that. And this is part of your elevator pitch. We're going to talk about the elevator pitch perhaps in more sessions. But knowing your worth when networking and talking to people, you should be able to say that personal statement when introducing yourself to your network. Today is a networking event. I like to think about it as a networking session. So I'd like to say thank you to those who turned their cameras on. But for those who have the cameras turned off, I think that it's kind of, you know, in this day and age, with the communication. Well, thank you for those who started to turn their cameras on. Thank you, Olga. This is how you network now. So I know that in-person networking may not be really feasible nowadays, but it's part of networking. It's part of people want to put the face to the name. So next time we meet in person, we know who Babi Kir is, and we know who Marie is and Olga is. So this is really important. Now, with regards to online presence, the first exercise I want you to do is really to Google yourself. So I want you to reach out to your phones, all of you, type your name in it and see what comes up. Who's ready to share?
Okay, there's an Instagram model of 18 years old who has exactly my name.
Okay.
That's bad.
Well, I think then you need to differentiate yourself on Instagram, but do you have a presence on Instagram?
Well, yeah, but it's not one of those networks that I actually, spend that much time on.
Right. So what are some of the
Uh,
networks that you spend time on?
Facebook and LinkedIn.
Okay. Right. So are the messages, first of all, the photo on Facebook and LinkedIn, is it the same or is it different?
No, it's different.
It's different, right?
Facebook for private, LinkedIn for business. And I
right.
try
So,
not to make those.
okay. Well, I've got news for everyone here that I speak to a lot of employers and all of them, they go and check out your Facebook. They check out every single platform that you have, not only your LinkedIn, because they want to make sure that whatever you do in your own personal time is kind of aligned with the company culture and with the vision and with the mission of the company. So they not only Google you on LinkedIn. Yes, of course, they want that professional part of you. But then we're going to talk about this in a different session. Today's session is only about personal branding. And that's why you want to make sure that the messages on all your social media platform and whatever is Googled and you come up in with, it has to reflect your personal brand. And that is if you really care about creating a personal brand. So it has to be consistent. It has to have a clear message telling the world or everyone that visits your platform what you're an expert in. And you have to be able to daily manage your personal brand. And how do you do that? So online presence, it pertains to everything that you do online. So whether it's your Facebook status, whether it's your likes, whether it's your sharing show. So whatever you share on LinkedIn or Facebook or any other platform is part of your online presence, whether you're aware of it or not. Even if you go on your Facebook and you say that you do not support the PETA organization, it's part of your personal brand if you do not support the PETA. So you don't care for animals. It's instantly part of your personal brand. So for those of you who are trying to create an aligned personal brand across all social media platforms, you have to be mindful on what you share and what you post on every single platform, social media platform that you're available on.
So I have a question, Hiba.
Yes.
What if you're changing industries, right? So if you Google yourself and you see, on the first page of Google, you see photos of yourself, you see articles with yourself featured in them, but therefore something that you used to do and you actually now want to do something else, you're pivoting.
Yeah.
You have a lot of work to do to change that.
Absolutely. And that's okay. It happens a lot when creating a personal brand. So first of all, what you really want to think about, do you want to still remain an expert in the field that you used to be? That's the first question that you want to ask yourself. So if yes, then keep it. Most of us make a career shift 5 or 10 years into their careers. Nobody remains in the same career or becomes an expert or remains an expert in the same industry. It's very normal for people to shift. And when you make that shift, you want to make sure that the entire world knows that you're making the shift. So if, let's say, you're in the construction field and you want to move into pharma, so you want to start posting more about pharma, you want to follow the companies, the healthcare companies and the pharmaceutical companies that you care about or you want to wish to make an impact in. You want to start reading their articles and making meaningful comments, not only yes, I agree, yes, no. You want to show yourself that you're an expert in this field. So career shift and shifting your personal brand is absolutely okay. What I would advise to do is think about, do I want to really show my old self? If not, it's part of who you are anyway. So if you had a long experience and long expertise in one field, It's part of who you are. But showing that you shifted and showing that you're moving towards something else is telling everyone else, first of all, that you're willing to make a change. Second, that you have skills, that you're developing yourself, you're learning about something new. So it's a good thing. And now industries do understand that transferable skills and making a shift is absolutely okay. And what they're really trying to look for is the unique value proposition in you. So what you offered in that field and how you presented yourself as an expert, and how are you going to project that across the other industry, and what are you an expert in now? So when shifting and creating a new personal brand or a new image about yourself, you want to make sure that the entire world knows it. Whether you're doing in-person networking, you can say, hey, in the couple of last month, I've been doing a lot of exploring, and I found that I'm more interested into the healthcare field. I want to do this. I'm really passionate about this. I want to help organizations do 1, 2, 3. As part of the message, creating the narrative again, creating the narrative that would be part of your new personal brand. So you want to make sure that you project what you're an expert in and what you want to be an expert in to the people that matter to you, to your audience. And I would say one of the common things that I would give an advice about when you're making a personal brand is that when you're creating content, whether it's online or in person, when you want to talk to people, first of all, think about the content that it needs to educate them. So you need to give them a piece of information that is going to help them. It's going to entertain them. There should be some aspect of fun, because it's not hardcore business. I mean, people like people who are that they can connect with, that they are real and genuine, and it's easy to talk to. So try to focus on these things and think about your goal and purpose in everything. If you're making a shift or a change, think about, why am I making a change, and how would that change help me, and why would I be willing to be an expert in this new X, Y, and Z aspect rather than the previous one. So it's absolutely okay, but you have to be really clear and consistent with the messages that you're sending to the world. How do you know if your personal brand is working? So like I said, think about how you see yourself, your unique value proposition, and the messages that we're telling ourselves. So I might tell myself that I'm an expert in the personal development industry, coaching, and all of that. But how do others see me? Do they really see me in that way? Now, if the way I see myself and if how people see me are aligned, then my personal brand is working. If these two are not aligned, then you know that your personal brand is not working. And this is something which is very, very important for you to think about. Let's see some of the common mistakes of personal branding.
We can barely hear the audio in the video, Hiba. It's not very audible.
I can share the links to the videos later on if it's not clear. Oh, I'm sorry. Let me see if I can. Great. So what Dory's trying to say is that you have no excuse not to build your personal brand. I mean, social media is there. You can create content. You can show the entire world what you're an expert in. Some of the three mistakes, common mistakes that I see in personal branding, which I call them the 3 C's, is the first one is they don't have a clear message. They don't know what their personal brand is about, and they don't know what their message is. The next one is that consistency. They're not consistent. So to present yourself in the same light each time you communicate your brand, you have to make sure that you're sending consistent messages, representing your values and your vision and your mission and your skills and everything. It has to be consistent. And third, constancy, which is visibly dependable. Once you're identified your personal brand, you have to commit to it. So try to create that narrative, try to make sure that you have your value proposition, because one of the common mistakes that I find is that these people, they don't have a goal or a purpose, right? And once they have a goal or a purpose, they don't know what sets them apart or what differentiates them from the group. So they don't know their unique value proposition. And third, they don't ask for help. I mean, this is one of the major mistakes. They don't want to feel vulnerable. And that's why they remain where they are. So if you want to build your personal brand, if you don't know how, just ask for help. Ask anyone that you think is an expert. Ask, if you're doing an MBA, you can ask us career coaches. Ask your peers if you think that they have a clear brand. So just reach out. And also, one of the common mistakes, like I said before, they're not authentic. So be yourself, don't be someone else. This is something which is really, really important. Be honest about your values, your ideas. And if you want to promote causes and support charities that align with your values, that really makes sense and resonates with your entire brand. Now, these are some of the questions that can help you determine your brand. So ask yourself these questions. What topics can you talk about endlessly? Which part of your job do you love most? What is your career goal? If you won an award, what would it be for? And this is one of the very, very interesting questions, because I quite often ask it to people and I say, if you won an award, what would it be for? And I think 1% of the times I got a reply. Also think about what are your strengths that others acknowledge in you, what sets you apart from your peers, and if you want to use 3 words to describe you, what would they be? if you won the lottery and didn't need to work, how would you spend your time? So these are some of the questions that are really worth asking yourself when you want to determine your personal brand. And if you don't know, what you can really do is try to send out a survey, ask your audience. So if you're an organization, ask your peers, ask your line manager, your director, the CEO, people who work with you, your clients, send them a small, create a survey on SurveyMonkey, for instance, which is free for everyone. And send it to your colleagues, to your network, and ask them these 3 questions, which would help you to learn more about your personal brand, because you want to see how your external network views you. So you can say simply 3 questions. What are 3 words that you would describe me, you would use to describe me? What type of role, function, or business would you recommend me for? And if you were to receive an award, what would it be for? So finding this also raises your self-awareness, which is also important when creating your personal brand. So create a short survey, send it to your friends, to your network, to your colleagues, to learn more about yourself. Branding really is rooted in ourselves, and this means that we need to know ourselves really hard when building the personal brand. So express yourself, market yourself before you get out there. Be clear on your unique value proposition. And this is a process, really. It just develops with you and with time. If you need any help, please feel free to reach out and to ask me. Now, I'll leave the time here, maybe 5 minutes, for you to ask a couple of questions if you have, or if you have any comments, just type them in the chat box and I can get back to you. Let's see. I'm sorry if you couldn't hear the audio. You can Google Dory Clark and personal branding. You would be able to find her. Dory Clark, she's a marketing strategist. I'm sorry that the audio is not clear. When managing your personal brand, really, you have to think about being proactive. So just like a job search strategy, there's 2 kinds of approach, the reactive and the proactive. So you will not sit and wait for people to create your brand for you. You have to take the first approach. You have to take control of that. So be proactive, promote your accomplishments. So if you're doing an MBA, just post that everywhere across your social media platforms. Say how that has helped you in creating your personal brand. Be relevant to whatever is the word is talking about. So stay relevant to the topics which are currently being discussed, and ensure to communicate effectively. One advice I would like to give is that when you want to spend your time on creating your personal brand, 50% of your time should be spent with people that you aspire to be with. 30% should be with your network and with your colleagues, and 20% you should be doing it with people who, if you want to mentor or give back or volunteer. So when creating your personal brand, think about these lines, and always try to have a positive attitude. I posted something about being positive is start your day every day by thinking about being having those feelings of hope, love, and gratitude to start your day on a positive note, and then end it with writing 3 things that went well every day in order to cultivate and in order to wire your brain to become more positively and to think about positively. Any questions so far? And of course,
well,
yes.
Here probably it's a half question, half comment. Is
this Alexander?
Yes, it's me. And yes. The question is about the role of social media and social networks. And there is a perception, and it's not only my perception, it's a shared perception that because social networks, they are so widely available and everybody registered there and everybody can promote whatever they want. the value that you get out of it is less and less. So it's just diminishing because again, people get tired of a lot of too much publicity. Some people, well, I can say it straight, some people lie directly and quite a lot. Yeah, because even when I review LinkedIn profiles of my former colleagues, people who worked for me, whom I worked for, yeah. And sometimes even I just give recommendation to people, and I see, well, and he accepted this recommendation, but he just saying that okay, this company he worked like a director, but I used to be his boss. And I know that, and also it's applicable for myself, that, okay, you say, yeah, well, he's active in social media, but it looks like he's too active. It sounds strange, you know, it looks fishy. So what would you say?
Why do you think it looks fishy being active on social media? And also, we have to think about social media in different directions. So for professionals, I would say LinkedIn is the most used platform for connecting with people. Now, I know that, yes, employers do check you out on Facebook and Twitter and other platforms. I know that not a lot of people use Pinterest. It's not commonly used here, but maybe it's used a lot in the US. But one of the common platforms, professional platforms, which is used is LinkedIn. And most of the people who contribute to content on LinkedIn, they want to be experts in what they're doing. So if you're saying that, you know, commenting a lot or posting a lot on LinkedIn does not add value, and then I would...
No. They want to be seen as experts, to be an expert.
Yes,
and want
absolutely.
to be seen as an expert. So two different things. And sometimes, yeah, and by the way, yes, sometimes these comments can be very helpful because you can see, well, just it looks like his or her level of expertise is just probably, yeah, he just quickly skims through a couple of books and that's it. Yes.
Yes, so what you're saying, they're not real, they're not genuine, they're not.
Yeah,
they're not
because yeah,
themselves.
I'm very active on LinkedIn. I comment a lot. I just put a lot of likes, but I prefer that you need to read more rather than to write. And if you open an article, very good article, you just get through the comments. 90% of it is just trash.
Yes. Yes. And that's how you will stand out when you read an article and write a meaningful, useful comment, showing your value, showing your knowledge, showing your expertise. And you is a blend of the knowledge that you learn from the MBA, the experience, the talents. So I agree with you. There are people that post a lot and it does not reflect who they are. But once you sit with them and have an interaction with them, you would be able to identify that. So these people are not genuine, they're not real. And that's why when I said you have to think, when you're creating a personal brand, you have to be real and authentic. Why do people resonate and connect with Oprah Winfrey, with Richard Branson, with, I don't want to talk politics, but I mean, maybe Joe Biden. But it's just that we connect with these people. We think that they're real. They appeal to us and we get attracted to them. But we know that their values are aligned with our values. What they're sharing is really, I know that it's true. And I know that when I meet Alexander in person, what he's posting on Facebook or on LinkedIn, and he's going to project that to me when I meet in person. And so you're real and you're authentic. And I agree with you that there are a lot of people who are not real, they're not authentic, they're just liking, sharing, posting, but these people who will not have a strong brand and people would identify them later on. So this is one of the common mistakes when creating a personal brand, not being real and not being authentic.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you, Alexander, for sharing. Any other meaningful also comments like Alexander? This was really helpful, Alexander. You brought up a topic which is quite often asked. Any other comments, messages? Okay, well then I think that this is clear to everyone. Well, I have a message for you. So if you're still doing an MBA program, you would be able to log into your careers platform and have access to it. So if you don't, please email global.careers@manchester.ac.uk. Your username is your student ID number, and this is your password. Also, alumni of the university who have studied other pathways other than the MBA would be able to access the careers provided by the University of Manchester. So go through, these are valuable platforms, and I would recommend everyone to go and visit these sites. Again, if you haven't registered to the Manchester network, please do register to it. This year, we're going to change things. We're working, we're hoping that with the COVID situation and with things improving, that things are going to be different when we go to in-person interactions. Now, we have started our hybrid events, so all our events now are going to be a mix of in-person and online. So watch out for that in the coming few months. Olga said, thank you. It was fantastic. Okay, no problem. For those who want to leave, that's fine. I do understand you have assignments, everyone. One last cause. These are some of the books that I have read when I worked on the content for this webinar. And I do recommend for people who want to start to think about personal branding to go through these books. Reinventing You and Stand Out by Dory Clark, The Charisma Myth, You Inc. These are some of the good books that if you want to read them, you can email me and I can send you the list separately.